Down. Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to BUCU 130 14 Historical Background of Buddhist Culture. I hope you all are doing well. During our previous classes, we examined the Buddhist. Last class was about Buddhist perspective on politics and considered how Buddhist ethical principles can shape ideas of leadership, governance, social responsibility, and well-being of society. I also appreciate many of you who have shared your perspective in the discussion forum. That's a very wonderful discussion, I noticed, and appreciate all of you. Today we move naturally from that discussion into another very important contemporary topic, Buddhism and human rights. This is the central theme of our Day 5 lecture. And before that, the timing, as we were discussing, today we will start. We start at 6:30 here. It is 5:30 for you, right? Some of you, and 6:30 here in the East Coast. And tomorrow we will start at the regular class timing. That will be 7:30 here and 6:30 for you in Central Time.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm sure some of you are also in East Coast, right? Somebody was there, I think, from East Coast, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Anyway, Abdullah should be from different time zone.
Yes. Let's just say the very East Coast. Let's just say that very, very East.
Okay. Far East. Okay. And then again, Sunday we have the class at 6:30. And Monday I have to leave for Los Angeles. So I won't be able to do that class on Monday, but we will reschedule that class. Okay. Let's decide which day is more convenient. I have also no idea, like I know many of you also would be busy. I have an urgent surgery, so I have to go. So I'll be away that day. Do you have any idea in your mind which day, an extra day for us? Maybe even next week? Somewhere in the next week, possibly? Or any other time is okay.
I think maybe first let's make sure you come out of your surgery, and then I think we can discuss it. I'm not sure. But first, yeah, at least that's how I think
That's
about
a
it. So
that's a pretty good
yeah,
idea. Very wise.
yeah,
All
just
right.
wishing you health, and once that's done, then I think we can discuss it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll wait for that then. Thank you.
I'd like to
Okay.
think a little more positively.
I'm sure it's
Yeah, yeah,
also
of course.
positive. Okay. So before we begin the main lecture, we will continue with the students' um, uh, presentations. I think last week we were discussing about Damien Keown's short introduction, right? And maybe let me actually, okay, maybe I should share the presentation first. Okay. Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is the topic that we discussed last week, and today is, and then we discussed this Buddhism, a very short uh, history, and these are some of the topics that we already discussed. So I think I don't want to go into more. We will go directly to our topic today because we can also probably have to read some suttas, and if possible, we will also read the summaries of some of those articles. Okay. So, we will explore how Buddhist teachings align with or differ from modern human rights. I think this is very important for all of us because modern human rights concepts and like 2,500 years ago, the concept of this human rights probably could be little different, right? What do you think is actually human rights? Can you say a few things about that?
I think human rights are just basic rights, and that is the right to have clean water, the right to have food, and the right to have shelter.
Okay. Food and shelter.
And clean water.
Clean water. Okay. Clean water, food, and shelter. All right. How about the other people? You are in, this is modern human rights, right?
I would just add to Kat's response that I would think of it as an entitlement that is not based on class or gender or any other category that we might fall into other than simply being a human being. And that could be an entitlement either to be treated a certain way or not to be treated a certain way, or to have certain things like Kat was saying, like clean water and shelter and so on.
Thank you so much.
For me, I'll just add dignity to all of that.
Yes, Abdullah, you must be knowing it better, I think.
Yeah, I'll just
I
add
can't hear
dignity to that.
you.
You cannot hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, I'll just add dignity to all of that, because these are rights that are not supposed to be given by any state. They're just rights that you have existing as a human being.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's an interesting question that you pose because we talk about it every day and we think we know what it is until you really make us think about it. And I agree with what Ibrahim said. You know, my thing was going to say the ability to live your life with dignity wherever you are, whoever you are, whenever you are.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. So let us see actually how it has been explained here in the human rights. You see the UN, how they have defined human rights. Can someone please read this for me?
I can read.
Okay.
Human rights are rights inherent to all human beings, regardless of race, sex, nationality, ethnicity, language, religion, or any other status. Human rights include the right to life and liberty, freedom from slavery and torture, freedom of opinion and expression, the right to work and education, and many more. Everyone is entitled to these rights without discrimination.
Okay. So this is the first very comprehensive kind of definition to human rights. And then there are more information about this. And so I think when it comes to Buddhism, this question is even more modern, I would say, in Buddhism. It's very interesting. The Buddha had that even more modern ideas about human rights. So, okay, this is the one I need. Yes. So human rights are rights inherent to all human beings, regardless of race, sex, nationality, ethnicity, language, religion, or any other status. Human rights include the right to life and liberty, freedom from slavery and torture, freedom from opinion and expression, the right to work and education, and many more. Everyone is entitled to these rights without discrimination. Okay, so this is how it is explained in according to United Nations. And Buddhism and human rights, if we can see the embracing compassion and equality is also really important here. How it is explained here in Buddhism. So it can be rooted in ancient India. It emphasizes intrinsic value and dignity of all beings. So basically, some of the suttas explain the compassion and nonviolence as the key values, and also liberation from suffering, pursuit of liberation from suffering. This is also very important. And I personally feel in Kalama Sutta that we are going to discuss a little later how Buddha has given even freedom of thought. Over here, we talked about freedom of speech, freedom to live, freedom to have food, shelter, and all these things. And over here, the Buddha talks about freedom to think, which is very interesting point 2,600 years ago. And so he also talks about freedom of from liberation from suffering. It is even more kind of metaphysical suffering. It's not only this physical suffering, it's a liberation that he talks about much beyond than these things. So intersection with human rights, I think Buddhism's profound understanding in human rights, probably they are not um, um, technically or with the technical terms, that could be a little different, but conceptually we can see it is much more advanced when it comes to human rights, and how he has been fighting valiantly against some of those discriminations during that time, especially the discrimination against women, discrimination against the lower caste people, and Buddha's enormous great compassion is truly, truly wonderful. And that he was swimming upstream, fighting against all the odds, all by himself. And later he made it such a strong trend in that society during that time, contemporary Indian society, and thousands and thousands rallied around him after this. So the Buddha's contribution to foster just and harmonious society, equality, and also protection of human rights to everyone, regardless of their birth, regardless of their different reservations, is very, very powerful and important. And some of the suttas that I would like to highlight here, this is Kalama Sutta, Parabhava Sutta, and Vasala Sutta. These suttas are really very important suttas. And so in Kalam Sutta, the Buddha, it is said to be the Buddhism's charter of free will, Buddhist charter of free will, Kalama Sutta. And Parabhava and Vasala Sutta, they talk about the downfall and outcast, how he has given freedom, liberty, equanimity, to equality to all sentient beings, all humans, without any discrimination whatsoever. So he was able to bring all of them together under his leadership, and all the monks and nuns, when they joined the Buddhist order, they were treated equally, regardless of their different social status, education, wealth, social reputation or whatever. It didn't have anything to do with Buddhist monks when they entered the Buddhist order. Okay, so let us read the Kalama Sutta. Let me quickly take that. Okay, over here in Access to Insight, we can see Kalama Sutta by Somatera, translate. You can see the Buddha's Charter of Free Inquiry. So the instruction of the Kalamas is justly famous for its encouragement of free inquiry. The spirit of the sutta signifies a teaching that is exempt from fanaticism, bigotry, dogmatism, and intolerance. And so many wonderful teachings are there in this sutta. Let us go directly to the sutta. So we don't read the whole thing. Also, there are some repetitions. I will invite any of you to read this part, and we will avoid some of those repetitions. Would you like to read? Make it a little bigger.
I can read. The Kalamas of the Kesaputta go to see the Buddha. I heard thus, once the Blessed One, while wandering in the Kasala country with a large community of bhikkhus, entered a town of the Kalama people called Kesaputta. The Kalamas, who were inhabitants of Kesaputta, Reverend Gautama, the monk, the son of the Sakyans, has, while wandering in the Kasala country, entered Kesaputta. The good repute of Reverend Gautama has been spread in this way. Indeed, the Blessed One is thus consummate, fully enlightened, endowed with knowledge and practice, sublime, knower of the worlds, peerless, guide of tamable men, teacher of divine and human beings, which he by himself has through direct knowledge understood clearly. He set forth the Dhamma, good in the beginning, good in the middle, good in the end, possessed of the meaning and the letter, and complete in everything. He proclaims the holy life that is perfectly pure. Seeing such consummate ones is good indeed. Then the Kalamas, who were inhabitants of the Kesaputta, went to where the Blessed One was. On arriving there, some paid homage to him and sat down on one side. Can you advance that up? I cannot see the rest. Can you, there you go. Scroll it upward. There we go. On arriving, there some paid homage to him and sat down on one side. Some exchanged greetings with him, and after the ending of the cordial, memorable walk, sat down on one side. Some saluted him, raising their joined palms, and sat down on one side. Some announced their name and family, and sat down on one side. Some, without speaking, sat down on one side. The
Thank
Kalamas.
you.
Okay.
So here we can see a very famous qualities of the Buddha, like the his nine virtues of the Buddha. And this is repeated in many suttas. And over here, Kalamas have heard about the Buddha, and then they also went to him, and naturally, some of them were very respectable to him, and some of them were just neutral. So, depending on their, personal, um, personal connection to the Buddha. Some of them were paying respect, and some of them were just exchanging greetings, and some of them just sat um, by the side. And then we can see the Kalama's question. I think that will also be important, even in today's context. Many people have this problem. So let us also read this part to understand what was their issue.
Kalamas of Kasaputta asked for guidance from the Buddha. The Kalamas, who were inhabitants of Kasaputta, sitting on one side, said to the Blessed One, "There are some monks and Brahmins, Venerable Sir, who visit Kasaputta. They expound and explain only their own doctrines. The doctrines of others they despise, revile, and pull to pieces. Some other monks and Brahmins, too, Venerable Sir, come to Kasaputta. They also expound and explain their own doctrines. The doctrines of others they despise, revile, and pull to pieces. Venerable Sir, there is doubt, there is uncertainty in us concerning them. Which of these revered monks and Brahmins spoke the truth and which falsehood?"
Yes. Now, their problem was um, like what to believe. There are a lot of people, they claim to be, the truth holders, and they claim to be the people who have the true teachings. And everyone comes here to the Kesaputtas, and everyone says their teaching is the right one. Many people from time to time, when they come and teach, and Kesaputtas themselves feel very confused. And now the criterion for rejection is explained by the Buddha here. Okay. Yes.
The criterion for rejection. It is proper for you, Kalamas, to doubt, to be uncertain. Uncertainty has arisen in you about what is doubtful. Come, Kalamas, do not go upon what has been acquired by repeated hearing, nor upon tradition, nor upon rumor, nor upon what is in a scripture, nor upon surmise, nor upon an axiom, nor upon specious reasoning, nor upon a bias towards a notion that has been pondered over, nor upon others' seeming ability, nor upon the consideration. The monk is our teacher, Kalamas. Kalamas, when you yourselves know these things are bad, these things are blamable, these things are censored by the wise, undertaken and observed, these things lead to harm and ill. Abandon them.
Yeah. This is the core of this sutta. This is also explained, repeated multiple times here. So we do have this issue too, right? Today, we also we actually personalized with people, personally attracted to some teachers, and There are some people who follow their teachings only. And let's say, like even in Buddhism, there are many teachers, so some of them do not want to listen to even other teachers. They want to strictly follow their teachings. And this problem was there in the past and is now, even today, we have it to a greater extent. Okay, what do you think of this paragraph?
I think that he was helping them understand that they are their own barometer. They can figure this out, and that even though they were looking for answers, I think he reassured them that they already know what is the truth, what is good and what is bad, and to trust that.
Okay. Yeah, the Kesaputtras were confused because different religious teachers came to their town, each presenting his own teaching as true and criticizing the teaching of others. We can see the exact same thing happening today also, right? So the Buddha first reassures them that their uncertainty is understandable. When conflicting claims are being made, doubt can be reasonable. The important point here, however, is that the Buddha is not simply saying, believe whatever you personally like. That's not the idea. Nor is he rejecting scripture, teachers, tradition, or reasoning altogether. He is actually warning against accepting a teaching solely because it comes through one of those channels. So this passage, you can see, lists several unreliable grounds when you are used by themselves. For example, repeated hearing. So when you continue to hear the same thing, I have heard this many times, so it must be true. It can happen to many people. And then tradition. Okay, our ancestors have always believed this, so I should also believe this. And then the rumor and hearsay. Everyone says so, so I should also believe it. It should be true, just because everyone says. And then the scriptures. It is written in a sacred text, therefore I need not examine it. So Buddha has given such a freedom to all of us. We could examine, we could criticize, we could investigate everything. We don't have to blindly believe, accept anything just like that. And then surmise or conjecture, accepting something merely because it seems plausible. And then axiom or inherent inference, that is assuming that logical deduction alone guarantees truth. Though it can be logically acceptable, the Buddha said even then the truth can be far more different. Spacious reasoning. Here, the Buddha also explains the arguments may sound clever, but still lead to wrong conclusions. So, legally or argumentatively, maybe someone can prove something, but it could still be not the truth. I think there is a saying like, law is an ass. So sometimes they change, they interpret the way they want. So truth can be distorted. And a preconceived view, becoming attached to an idea because we have thought about it for a long time. This is another thing. And another person's apparent competence, assuming someone must be correct because they seem intelligent or impressive. Even then, they might change their perspective. I know there are some people, for example, especially some of the people who work with some, let's say, like political parties. So when they join a certain party, they express a particular view, and the same person, when they join another party, they beautifully change their words and explain it in a very different style, completely different from their previous perspective, just because they are in a different party. That happens. Interesting, right? So just because uh, of their apparent competence doesn't mean it is correct. Authority of the teacher. Let's say like this monk is my teacher and he's very reputed one, and so he is well versed in the Dhamma. Therefore, whatever he says must be true. Look at the Buddha's freedom of thought that he has granted to us. This is really amazing. He said, "Don't believe just because of those things." So then comes the positive criterion here when you yourself know that certain qualities are unwholesome, blameworthy, criticized by the wise, and when practiced lead to harm and suffering, they should be abandoned. That is the um, Buddha's teaching. So you have been given, we have been given the authority. So we have the freedom, the liberty to accept or refuse, and depending again on the quality, unwholesome, blameworthy, and criticized by the wise. And when practiced, lead to harm and suffering. This is also on the ground of some ethical reasons again. This is very important actually. The Buddha gives us more than private opinion as the test. There are several levels of examination: personal understanding, ethical quality, the judgment of the wise, and most importantly, the actual consequences of putting a teaching into practice. This is very important. For example, later in the discourse, the Buddha asked the Kalamas about greed, hatred, and delusion. When these arise strongly in a person, they lead that person toward harming others, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, and other harmful behavior. The Kalamas agree that they do. Therefore, such states should be abandoned. Conversely, freedom from greed, hatred, and delusion conduces to welfare and happiness. So the principle is not merely question everything. It is something closer to examine carefully, test ethically, and observe consequences. And do not surrender your judgment merely to authority. This is a very important conclusion that we can learn from here. This has an interesting connection with our discussion of Buddhism and human rights. So this passage supports Buddha's Buddhist culture of moral inquiry in which people are not expected simply to obey an authority without reflection. It therefore has relevance to ideas such as freedom of thought, freedom of conscience, and religious inquiry. At the same time, we should be careful not to claim that the Kalama Sutta is a modern declaration of an individual right to free speech or right to freedom of religion. Those are modern legal categories. Rather, the discourse provides an ethical and epistemological foundation that is compatible with intellectual freedom. A person should investigate teachings, distinguish wholesome from unwholesome, and make judgments based on wisdom and consequences. For the class, I would summarize the passage in one sentence. That is, the Buddha asked the Kalamas neither to believe blindly nor to doubt blindly, but to investigate wisely and accept what, when understood and practiced, leads away from greed, hatred, and delusion, harm, and suffering. Okay, so now let's go ahead and read a little bit more how the Buddha has explained, and he has asked the Kalamas. He doesn't actually pass the judgment by himself. This is another teaching methodology that the Buddha used. He would ask questions from the other party, and they would give the answer, not the Buddha himself. Let us read this part. Greed, hate, and delusion. Okay, anyone else would like to read?
I'll try reading it.
Okay.
What do you think, Calamus? Does greed appear in a man for his benefit or harm? For his harm, venerable sir. Calamus, being given to greed and being overwhelmed and vanquished mentally by greed, this man takes life, steals, commits adultery, and tells lies. He prompts another to do likewise. Will it be long for his harm and ill? Yes, venerable sir. What do you think, Calamus? Does hate appear in a man for his benefit or harm? For his harm, venerable sir. Calamus, being given to hate and being overwhelmed and vanquished mentally by hate, this man takes life, steals, commits adultery, and tells lies. He prompts another too to do likewise. Will it be long for his harm and ill? Yes, venerable sir. What do you think, Calamus? Does delusion appear in a man for his benefit or harm? For his harm, venerable sir. Calamus, being given to delusion and being overwhelmed and vanquished mentally by delusion, this man takes life, steals, commits adultery, and tells lies. He prompts another too to do likewise. Will that be long for his harm and ill? Yes, venerable sir. What do you think, Calamus? Are these things good or bad? Bad, venerable sir. Blamable or not blamable? Blamable, venerable sir. Censured or praised by the wise? Censured, venerable sir. Undertaken and observed, do these things lead to harm and ill or not? Or how does it strike you? Undertaken and observed, these things lead to harm and ill. Thus it strikes us here. Therefore did we say, Calamus, what was said thus, Come, Calamus, do not go upon what has been acquired by repeated hearing, nor upon tradition, nor upon rumor, nor upon what is in a scripture, nor upon surmise, nor upon an axiom, nor upon specious reasoning, nor upon a bias towards a notion that has been pondered over, nor upon another seeming ability, nor upon the consideration. The monk is our teacher, Calamus, when you yourselves know these things are bad, these things are blamable, these things are censured by the wise, undertaken and observed, these things lead to harm and ill. Abandon them.
Thank you. So you can see now how the Buddha does not answer, right? Buddha, he asks only questions. How these questions are put in such a way that they give the right answer. So this is acceptable to all. This is also very interesting. And eventually, Kala must come to know what is to be believed. And over here, I think from with this paragraph, the criterion for acceptance, then we can stop. We can go to another part. If you can also please read this part.
Yes, the criterion for acceptance. Come, Calamus, do not go upon what has been acquired by repeated hearing, nor upon tradition, nor upon rumor, nor upon what is in a scripture, nor upon surmise, nor upon an axiom, nor upon specious reasoning, nor upon a bias towards a notion that has been pondered over, nor upon another seeming ability, nor upon the consideration. The monk is our teacher, Calamus. When you yourselves know these things are good, these things are not blamable, these things are praised by the wise, undertaken and observed, these things lead to benefit and happiness. Enter on and abide in them.
Thank you. Okay, so that's about the Kalam Sutta. I hope you can also read the rest of the sutta later on, and also maybe see how these things have been explained by the Buddha in his own vision. So then we will go back to our slideshow. So this is the thing that we want to emphasize. The as the sutta says, it is improper for you to kalamas, to doubt, to be uncertain. It is proper to be to doubt, to be uncertain. Uncertainty has arisen in you about what is doubtful. Come, kalamas, do not go upon repeated hearing, tradition, rumor, scripture, surmise, axiom, specious reasoning, bias towards a pondering notion, another seeming ability, the consideration, the monk is our teacher. So these are the criterion that he has taught us. And then these things are bad, these things are blamable, these things are censured by the wise, undertaken and observed, these things lead to harm and ill will, and ill, and then abandon them. So this is the way to reject something. And so in Kalama Sutta, we have been given this beautiful teaching, and we have another very interesting sutta again that is called Parabhava Sutta. That sutta also will be very helpful for us. Maybe before going to read the sutta, maybe we can just have some understanding of the sutta, the progressive and declining parts. Parabhava means declining. Okay. So over here, the Buddha talks about the declining. How can one become progressive and one becomes declining? So progressive one, easily known, allows Dhamma and progresses. And the declining one, in contrast, easily known, averse to Dhamma and decline. So Dhamma, what is Dhamma? That is something that we need to also discuss. Okay, let us say over here we have people from different perspectives, different ideologies, different background, different cultures. So, what do you think is the Dhamma according to this? Progressive one loves Dhamma, declining one averse to Dhamma.
I would say unchanging truth.
Okay.
Like the only thing that's not impermanent.
Mm-hmm. That could be agreeable to many, right? Okay. Anyone else? What is Dhamma? There's a book by John Ross Carter. He wrote a book called Dhamma. The whole book is about Dhamma. The title is Dhamma.
I'll chime in. I would agree that it relates to unchanging, permanent truth. Maybe it's a subset of those truths. I mean, I suppose there might be permanent, unchanging truths about mathematics, for example. I don't know if those are necessarily Dhamma, but rather permanent, unchanging truths that are relevant specifically to the pursuit of happiness and liberation from suffering.
I think the Dhamma promotes free thinking and empowerment to do so. The freedom to express oneself without being ruled or being structured into something that is less than progression. And I think that would be a simple, for me, a simple way of saying it. It promotes the goodness of a person and promotes enrichment of the self in order to attain enlightenment, and relieve the suffering. I mean, that's the ultimate goal of the Dhamma, is to help people relieve suffering and understand it in order to achieve enlightenment.
Thank you. So, Dhamma is such a multi-meaningful word. It's very hard to translate also because it has so many levels and so many different connotations attached to. So, Dhamma in Pali, Dharma in Sanskrit, and I think in Chinese it is Fa, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know, maybe my pronunciation is not correct. So, Dharma, it could be philosophy, it could be nature, it could be truth, absolute truth. It could be, at times, it could be teaching. It could be like many things, right? Depending on circumstances. Over here, we can see the progressive one, easily known, and he loves the Dhamma and he progresses. And the declining one, easily known, averse to Dhamma and declines. And so that is about the Dhamma. And in the cause of downfall, in part 1, it is said, prefers the wicked, finds no delight with the virtuous, follows the creed of the wicked. Have you seen some people like that? So they like the wicked people, and they don't like the good things, virtuous things. And so also fond of sleep and company, and they are indolent, lazy, and also irritable. And well to do, but fails to support elderly parents. So even if they are very prosperous, if they fail to support their elderly parents, that also is a cause of downfall. And then in part 2, deceives by falsehood a Brahmin, ascetic, or any mendicant. If you deceives by falsehood, and then possesses wealth and luxury, but enjoys them alone. You don't want to share it with the others. You don't want to practice generosity. You don't want to help others. And proud of birth, wealth, or clan, and despises own kinsmen. That's another problem some people have. In Pali, it is called actually uh, okay, so highlighting oneself and looking down upon the others. I forgot the Pali word. I'll let you know when I remember that. Yes. So these are also some of the causes for downfall. And then we have in part 3, a rake, a drunkard, gambler, squanders all earnings. They get whatever and they just spend it. Like gambling people, drunkard people, they don't know how to save. They know only how to spend. And discontented with own wife, seen with harlots and wives of others, that's also a cause of for downfall. Let us say like the other way also, if that is applicable, like instead of wife, maybe husband. Takes a young wife in old age, unable to sleep due to jealousy. That is also an issue over here, cause of downfall. Sometimes it could happen out of jealousy. You don't want to take your eyes away from a very, very young wife if you have. Causes of downfall, places authority in a woman, man given to drink and squandering. If you have somebody like that as a chairman or director or chief operating officer, you can imagine how a company would, prosper. And noble birth with vast ambition, slender means and craves rulership. This again can be a cause of downfall. Okay, so that is about the Parabhava Sutta. I just actually said just the summary only. And please read this Parabhava Sutta. Really, very, very powerful sutta. It is. Maybe part of it is probably can be very helpful If you can also share the link here, Parabhava Sutta, we can see access to inside Parabhava Sutta. Let me see one thing that can be very helpful. Yeah. Yes, this is Sutta Nipata actually. Parabhava Sutta. Okay, to be of noble birth with to be of noble birth with where is that? Vast ambition and of slender means, and to crave for rulership. No, not that one. So it says here, if someone, depending on someone's birth, one does not become a noble person. And it is by their own action that someone can become a noble person. And let's go to Vasala Sutta, another very interesting sutta. Vasala Sutta, this is also called Aggika Bharadwaja Sutta, because the Sutta Nipata 1.7 discourse on outcast. Okay, maybe we can read this summary here. Vasala Sutta, outcast factors. Over here, harbors anger and hatred and reluctant to speak well of others, deceitful and perverted in views. They don't want to speak good of others, always try to say something bad in others. And that is anger and hatred. They are full of negativity and violence, kill living beings without sympathy, and destroys and besieges villages, and steals from others what is not given. This is another category of outcast factors. And dishonesty, runs away from debts and utters lies as a witness for personal gain, and deceives Brahmins, ascetics, and mendicants by lying. So these are some of the bad qualities of these outcasts. So if someone like those days during the Buddha's time, the Brahmin society, they actually categorize outcasts as someone who is an outcast just on the basis of their birth. But the Buddha said someone can become an outcast not on the basis of their birth, but on the basis of their actions like that. Anger and hatred, violence and dishonesty could be major reasons for such outcast people. And he also further explains in some more immorality, covets and kills for personal gain, and engages with the wives of relatives or friends, and ignores the well-being of elderly parents. The Buddha has, if you remember, even in the other sutta, Parabhava Sutta, we learn the same thing. Taking care of the parents is one of the really, really noble, important noble quality, accepted and respected by the society. And even today, if there is someone who really treats their parents, well-being of the parents, take care of them, respect them, this is considered a very wonderful quality. And if someone does not know how to respect their parents, some kids today, I think we can see some kids how they hurt their parents. due to some reason, they do it. But the fact of the matter is they have taken care of the children by taking care of them in their womb. For the mother has been taking care of the baby for nearly 10 months with so much suffering. And that itself is something unmatched, unparalleled. So the children should always be grateful and thankful to their parents. This is really important. I saw a video, very disturbing video recently, and they are the son and his wife. They beat the old mother. It's really difficult to even watch how they beat this mother. Really brutal, the way they treat the mother. She's very, very old, and he beats her so ruthlessly and brutally. It is happening even today. So um, that could definitely become an outcast factor. And disrespect, here you can see strikes and annoys family members, fails to honor a host after partaking in food, and angers a Brahman or ascetic during mealtime. And this is also interesting, and how you take care of your family. And if you don't know, if you don't respect your family members, and also if you don't share your wealth with your family members, that can be a cause to downfall again. You could be called an outcast on the basis of such a ruthless act, disrespect. Pride and arrogance is another problem. So, if you have pride and arrogance, the Buddha said, you cannot be called a Brahmin, you can be called an outcast. Exalts oneself and belittle others. Okay, I got the Pali word now when I heard this word. So that is Attukkansana and Paravambana. Attukkansana means exalts oneself. Paravambana means belittle others. That's um, that's a very bad quality and reviles the Buddha or his disciples. Pretends to be an arahant while not being one. They are all part of outcast factors. And the sutta Brahman factors, virtuous deeds, a Brahman by deed, not by birth, attains the highest fame and spiritual attainment. And righteous conduct, followed the Noble Eightfold Path, reached the Brahma realm by giving up sense desires. And moral integrity again. Actions determine one's true status, not birth. So, kammana vasaro hoti, kammana hoti brahmana. And high birth not prevent falling into woeful states of if committing evil deeds. So even if you are from such so-called well-to-do family, if you also commit evil deeds, then you cannot be called a Brahman. A Brahman means a noble person. A noble person should be determined on the basis of their noble actions, not because they were born into a noble family. Someone can be called a noble person. This is the Buddha's teaching. I mean, this is very ultra modern very sophisticated ideology even during that time. Even today, we can really give it a very high status. If people with such noble qualities or noble birth, if they do all the wrong things, then they can be called noble people. Humility and wisdom acknowledges that by deed one becomes a Brahmin. Kammana vasalo hoti, kammana hoti Brahmano. And the Buddha also rejects pride and honors righteous actions over lineage. Lineage is nothing to do if you are not doing, not following the honorable, righteous actions. Okay. All right. So, okay, maybe we will take 5 minutes to discuss about Vasala Sutta and Parabhava Sutta. Do you have something to share, something to comment on this? Did you find anything noticeable in these two suttas,
I
Parabhava and Vasala Sutta?
go ahead.
Yes,
Oh, you
please,
go ahead.
Jennifer.
Okay, so I found that the Buddha kind of reset the order of things as far as how the caste was set up originally, traditionally, and went along those lines of don't believe everything because of tradition, don't believe everything because it was said that this person called it truth. But he followed it in his own manner by resetting the caste system. And I think even helping them understand, because he already had the royalty background and knew how to speak with them, but to convey his teachings in the manner that was good for everyone. And to still, question those things, but to also, for him to demonstrate this to the royalty and the Brahmins was extremely important, because then it was up to them to follow through then, based on what he taught.
Thank you. So we discussed three suttas actually, Kalanu Sutta, Vasala Sutta, and Parabhava Sutta. Okay. Jennifer, do you have to say something?
Yeah, as I was listening along, and thank you guys for your patience, my kiddo is at horseback riding lessons, but as I'm listening along, the first part where he was explaining not to believe something just because someone in who is important says it's true, but also just don't necessarily disbelieve it just because you feel like you should, to really look into it, struck me as very unaligned with my own personal experience being raised in a Christian background. Questioning things was really frowned upon. And so I think it's very interesting, and probably at that time also kind of a shock to everyone's system, because Hindu religion at the time also kind of said, this is what it is. We're not asking questions. But then as we went on to the next sutta, where we were talking about all of the ways of proper behavior and improper behavior, it reminded me back to kind of like the Ten Commandments in Christianity. And I thought it was very interesting how they aligned. I'm just kind of thinking on a multi-religious level. It also brought to mind that within like Judaism, they encourage people to dig in, ask questions, research, just kind of things that were striking me as I was listening. But I do appreciate being encouraged to branch out, to research things for yourself, because simply believing something because you were told doesn't allow you to improve your own thought process, or to be more educated or even more enlightened. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Today we can actually compare many wonderful modern sophisticated ideologies. We can also we have to also give it a kind of consider how it was so difficult and challenging for the Buddha to go against so many people who were not aligned with him, with his ideology. So it's a really interesting thing, but it's better we can compare today's versions and those days, 2,600 years ago. Thank you, Jennifer.
I really like the Vasala Sutta. It's one that I've gone back to over many years because I kind of have like this character flaw where sometimes I feel like I'm responsible to make everyone around me happy, and um, sometimes I feel like, well, I've gained all these good things from Buddhism, and kind of feel like I'm supposed to share it with people that are basically outcasts. And I look back at this, I look at the Vasala Sutta, and I like how he gets like really specific on certain behaviors and certain types of people that you're not responsible for, and you don't have to let them drag you down. And it's not only perfectly acceptable to let these people go, but it's actually beneficial for you. And you can't be on the path to enlightenment with all these other people who aren't. So that's one thing that I've really loved that the Buddha has taught. It's really helped me out a lot.
Thank you so much. All right, so let's take a little break then. And then we will discuss more about the subject. And 10 minutes. Okay. Thank you. See you soon. Hello, everyone. Welcome. So I actually initially thought we could do a group discussion, but having seen only very few people here, I don't want to make it like 3 groups, but we still can make it like 2 groups. So maybe instead of giving like one sutta, because we have only 2 groups, group 1 and group 2, I'll make 2 groups, okay? And please discuss the 2 suttas in your group. I hope I can, okay, breakout rooms, 2 rooms, and assign automatically. Okay, over here, room number 1, Jennifer, John, Nat, Reverend Arivansha, and Tom. And in room 2, Abdullah, Sage, Xiaonan, and Yihuan. Okay? So let's also make it
Cat?
like, yes?
Did you assign Cat to one of those?
Ah,
I didn't.
where's Cat?
I was going to say I didn't hear it.
Oh yeah, I don't know how. Can
Did
you
you
add
put that
yourself
post?
to group room 2?
Yeah, group 2.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can add yourself, right? I don't know. Maybe
think
because you are a co-host here.
Maybe if I make you the host.
It's okay. It's okay. You can, if you can add yourself to room 2, that's fine.
Okay.
Then we actually
Maybe
can
I
match.
can do that.
All right. So, like, how long? Like, 10 minutes would be too little, right? Is that okay? 10 minutes?
10 minutes sounds good to me.
Okay. Is that okay, everyone? Agreeable? All right. So let's do it for 10 minutes. And okay. Good luck. And please discuss the three suttas, whatever comes to your mind, and relate that to Buddhism and human rights. Okay? Thank you. Hello, Jennifer. Were you in the group? One, two, three. Hello, Jennifer. Okay, so how was the discussion?
I think fruitful. I think so, at least. Yeah, we got different perspectives. It's something that I think is really nice. It's like something I notice about the suttas also as well is that they can be sometimes they can be general, sometimes they can be specific, but they allow so much let's say interpretation based off of experience. But at the end of the day, we kind of reach to the same conclusion. And I think that's very interesting.
Okay.
I would definitely agree with you.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Where I think that we had one question that we all kind of answered, and I think we're all pretty much on the same page as to how it looks for each of us. But as a whole, I think we all agreed about the same idea from that question.
Okay, so we were discussing the same suttas in both the groups. I would like to hear from at least some of you from both the groups. If you have something different. Also, like this was a chance for you to personally meet your friends. That also is I think, a great idea. Okay. So, what were the other people discussing?
So we shed some light on the outcasts, and we talked about how obviously it's beneficial for us to not like having them pull us away from the path, but it's actually beneficial for them too, because it I guess it kind of decreases some of the delusion for them, or it helps with their karma in some way. It makes it to where they're in a spot where they can climb back up. So it's actually beneficial for everyone to have those outcasts.
Okay. So maybe we can take a group picture now. Um, so please take a group picture now, and just in case if somebody is missing towards the end, I think that will be helpful. And also please share this later on in the group.
Is someone
Okay.
capable of doing that? My phone is not working very well tonight. So if someone could do that, that would be great. Oh, thank you, Nat.
Ready?
Okay.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile.
Yeah, anyone can do it. That will be
Okay,
useful.
ready.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you
So
don't smile, you'll be outcast.
Right. Please share it in the WhatsApp group. I think that will be more helpful, because we can share the chat history with the pictures. Okay. All right. So let me go back to the. Yeah. So these three suttas. Please go ahead and read the the entire sutta and try to compare and contrast and how they can help you in kind of having some idea about the this notion of human rights in Buddhism. And apart from that, we also have a lot of things to learn from Buddhism, compassion and nonviolence, particularly. Uh, we talk about compassion, metta, or loving kindness, and nonviolence, avihimsa or ahimsa. And also, we have prohibited livelihoods. This also can be really helpful. What is it about? So, core principle in Buddhism is compassion, wisdom, and compassion. Really, core teachings. And when it comes to the 5 precepts, the first precept is not to kill, not to harm anyone. And then the other side is practicing loving kindness. And over here also, uh, this compassion encourages empathy and understanding others' suffering. So in the Brahma Viharas, we learn about how that metta is the unconditional, immeasurable, boundless loving kindness towards all sentient beings, whereas the karuna is for the or karuna or compassion is for the suffering beings, and we need to have that empathy, think of others suffering, and help whatever way we can. So in both Theravada and Mahayana schools of Buddhism, karuna is a very powerful teaching. And then the mudita is the other one, a little bit more challenging. That is the sympathetic joy or appreciative joy, where you should be able to appreciate others' happiness. When the other one is better off, when another person is better than you in many levels, you should be able to still enjoy the as having seen the others' happiness, success, or betterment than you. That is called mudita. And then the equanimity. So this metta is extended to all living beings, highlighting the inherent dignity and equality. This is directly related to human rights. We respect others' life. When we say, I don't kill others, that means you respect others' life. You don't steal, you respect others' property, hard earned property. And then when you say, do not engage in sexual misconduct, you respect others' family. And when you say, I abstain from false speech, you become a truthful, sincere person. And then also avoid or abstain from drinks and drugs that cause intoxication or heedlessness means that you become a wise person. These are also very important teachings that can be very helpful for a happy, peaceful, and healthy society. Nonviolence here, again, what we call ahimsa or avihimsa, this denounces the use of force and harm towards others. In Dhammapada, the Buddha said, nobody likes punishment, nobody likes to be hurt. So thinking thus, you don't want to harm others. And also in Dhammapada, the Buddha said, nahi verena verani sammanti kudachanang averena cha sammanti esa dhammo sanantano. Hatred is never appeased by hatred. Hatred is appeased by non-hatred only. This is an eternal law. It is applicable everywhere. Hatred cannot be appeased by hatred. It should be kopa. It should be dealt with only non-hatred. And another one in Dhammapada, the Buddha said, Parechana vijananti maya mitha yamamase, yecha tattha vijananti tato sammanti medaga. People who fight and quarrel with each other, they kind of forgot that they are going to die one day. They fight as if they are living forever. So the wise man who actually is aware of the fact that he is going to die, on the basis of that, he would not fight, he would not quarrel. So that's again the practice here in Buddhism related to non-violence. And interesting Samma Ajiva practice, that is the right livelihood. We have here 5 kinds of jobs that you should avoid. This is also very helpful. Satta Vanijja, like animal husbandry for killing, animal torturing. So not only humans but also the animals have been shown so much sympathy and compassion in Buddhism. And Sattva Vanijja, this is one of the biggest businesses that we have today, easy money, weapon business. Visa Vanijja, poisonous. So anything, even if it gives you a lot of money, but if it's harmful to our own human society, our own fellow human beings, our own society, and even to the nature, that kind of business should be avoided according to Buddhism. That is called Visa Vanijja. And Majja Vanijja, again, alcohol and intoxicating drugs, again, one of the biggest mafias in the world. So, easy money again. People who deal with this, although they always live with a lot of uncertainty, they live with a lot of fear and insecurity, but they also do a great deal of harm, not only to themselves, but also to many people. Today we can see in the world, especially our young generation, has been so much addicted to drinks and drugs, which is very, very unfortunate. And it is almost like impossible for us to kind of save them from this catastrophic, disastrous practice. So again, these are all easy money. Human trafficking, Mansa Vanijja, another very serious thing that is happening in the world. You can see all these Satta Vanijja, Sattha Vanijja, Visa Vanijja, Majja Vanijja, and Mansa Vanijja, easy money businesses, as compared to people who really work hard day and night, and 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. They work relentlessly, they work tirelessly, and they work so hard, but they don't get this much money. Easy money this is. But compared to that, the people who work diligently for some meaningful profession, that is something that is acceptable and appreciated over here. So this also is one thing that in Buddhism we discourage people to engage in this kind of businesses, If you also want to apply for a job, you should avoid such things that are harmful to others. Like in Ambalatika Rahulova, the Sutta Buddha mentioned, if you want to do something good, make sure it doesn't harm yourself, it doesn't harm others. It should not harm both you and others. That is the kind of things that you should do. And in the Dhammapada, again, the Buddha said, in looking back into your life in retrospection, if you see that if you feel guilty, if you feel like guilty and feel like crying because of your own guilty consciousness, you have done something wrong in the past, that kind of a life should be avoided. And what kind of a life is encouraged again? A life that you can, in looking back into your own past history, you should be able to be proud of yourself, and you should be able to sincerely smile, really with pure heart. You can be very happy that you have lived a correct or righteous life. That is the kind of life that is appreciated in Buddhism. So when it comes to Buddhism and human rights, these teachings can also be applied to our day-to-day practice. And then this is another very interesting and very unique to Buddhism, what we call interdependence, paticca samuppada, or in Sanskrit it is pratitya samuppada. And over here, in paticca samuppada, we can see the fundamental concept in Buddhism. Everything has causes and conditions. Due to some cause, something happened, and because of that, another thing happened. So they are mutually helpful. Like in the in the Paticca Samuppada, or the dependent origination theory, the 12 links theory, it talks about how the whole circle of transmigration happens due to this fundamental theory of dependent origination. So this highlights the interconnectedness of all phenomena, and every action and decision has far-reaching consequences. So applying this into human rights, which can also be helpful if we respect the humanity, if we respect others' life and property, others' family life. Our own life insurance will be more stronger. Our own property insurance can be more stronger. Our own family safety can be more stronger. Very interesting and important question. And responsibility in Buddhism, again, is very important because when it comes to responsibility, you have some commitment. So Buddhism also acknowledges this interdependence between individual and society. Like in Sigaloa, the Sutta, how the Buddha talks about different directions. We discussed about the Sigaloa, the Sutta, right? Last time. So 6 directions. How Mata Pita Disapubba, the parents are in the eastern direction, and then Puttadara Disapacha, the spouse and the children in the western direction, Mitta Matta Uttara, the friends, and loved ones can be in the upper direction, and then Dasa Kammakara Hetta, the employees can be in the southern direction, and um, the ascetics or the religious or spiritual people in the upper direction, and like that the four six directions are explained here. And so over here, children and the parents have interdependent responsibilities towards each other. Children have five duties towards parents. Parents have five duties towards children. Really beautiful. And then the husbands have five duties towards the wives. Wives have five duties towards husbands. It's a beautiful sutta actually. It is called Gihi Vinaya, or Code of Conduct for Lay Society. This wonderful sutta. You can also take a good look at this sutta, so called Sigala Sutta or Sigalovada Sutta in Digha Nikaya. So over here we can see the responsibility and commitment towards each other, and then emphasizes the responsibility to create a just and equitable environment, which is again very important for this concept of interdependence. And eventually, it is also related to our main topic, Buddhism and human rights. So, when it comes to the historical commitment, Buddhist societies have historically upheld human rights. They have been very respectful to others. For example, we know during King Ashoka's time how he used lots and lots of rock edicts and inscriptions with full of Buddhist wisdom, where he advocated the Indian society, the ancient Indian society, with so many diverse cultural, linguistic backgrounds, to live harmoniously, to coexist, to helping and respecting each other. So some of those very rich Buddhist teachings have been explained. He has inscribed them in these rock edicts. Really, really important. So he emphasized about the human rights and the religious tolerance. Really, really important. He said, if you respect others' religion, then you respect your own religion. So these were core teachings of Buddhism that King Ashoka used for the greater benefit of the society. Because he started with what we call Digvijaya, like conquering the directions, different directions, conquering his own territory. He invaded others' territories, and then he found, after disastrous wars, he found that it was not the right way. And later he switched into Dharma Vijaya, Dhamma Vijaya or Dharma Vijaya. That was the conquering with the Dharma, righteous way. And that was making him really happy. And he became a very righteous and very just and respectable person ever since. So Ashoka's actions highlight the compatibility between Buddhism and the promotion of human rights. Ashokan inscriptions have played a very crucial role, especially in the ancient history. He is one of the major political leaders in the world who has used some of these beautiful teachings to bring harmony, peaceful coexistence in the society. Usually, in the ancient political pundits, they used a very interesting theory in running society. in doing their politics. I think it is exactly happening even today. This is called Sama, Dana, Bheda, and Danda. Have you heard of this before? This is actually Kautilya's Artha Shastra, very ancient political Pandit. He was called Kautilya. Sama means when they meet, the political leaders, they kind of bring people together. You know, they want to make everyone together. They want to unite together, and that is because of their own ulterior motive. They do it sometimes. And dana means they practice generosity, but it's kind of a bribing, practicing bribing to again gain their own ulterior motives. And Bheda, they also sometimes when they see the society is going against them or something, they try to break apart some faction. So they have their secret services or whatever, and they use those things to divide the society. It's interesting how ancient, political pundits, they have use these methods, and even today it's happening. And Bheda is the third one. Last one is Danda. Danda means punishment. So they would punish if something is going against them. So ideologically, this could be probably used in a more humane way or more politically correct way, but most of the time it is happening, unfortunately, with all the wrong, unethical conditions. So, I mean, in that background, King Ashoka's later transition from a violent king to a righteous king is a very, very interesting twist in the history of the world, especially in the history of Buddhism. He changed, he transformed the entire history of Buddhism by becoming a very righteous king. He dispatched 9 missionary groups to 9 different locations. And then he sent peaceful messengers. And also, with that, he wanted to have peaceful relationship, political and economic relationships with different countries, which is also really interesting point in the history of India. And so these are some of the things that I want to emphasize today. And then we can also think of the modern relevance. So Buddhism is really ancient, but Buddhism still continues to provide some insights into promoting and protecting human rights. Vast majority, I think the core teachings of Buddhism always protects human rights. Very important. They practice minimalistic lifestyle. They promote environmental protection and the water uh, and environment, the trees and plants, and also the wild animals. They always pay respect to them, which is a very important um, part of this concept, although it is not directly related to human, we can say, but actually for biodiversity, these are also very important. The water conservation, the air conservation, and also the aquatic creatures, how we should protect these things, the water, the earth, and the trees and the plants, and all other sentient beings, they should all be a part of our um, biodiversity. And then active engagement here, Buddhist practitioners and scholars address social injustices and advocacy for human rights through compassion, nonviolence, and interdependence. Practicing dana, practicing sila, and helping others, helping parents, helping those who are in need of our help. They are all part of Buddhist practice, actively engaging in social, not only social harmony, but also charity. And especially in Mahayana Buddhism, they really promote a bodhisattva ideal where they want to engage more and more for the well-being and happiness of the many. Well, in Theravada Buddhism also, they do the same. The Buddha said to his first 60 disciples, first missionary group, he said, walk for the well-being and happiness of the many, and use one person only one road, one path, so that many people can walk different paths to reach out to as many as possible and help them. And very interesting teaching about helping others. In one of the Mahayana books, Bodhicharya Avatara, it is mentioned like this body is for the well-being and happiness of the many, and I am happy to sacrifice this body for the well-being and happiness of the many. And there's one Kshittigarbha Bodhisattva who makes a vow until the last sentient being, last hell being is rescued. He doesn't want to attain his own liberation. That kind of compassion, that kind of dedication is truly, truly inspiring in Buddhism. So, like in metta, like unconditional, immeasurable, boundless loving kindness to all sentient beings, when we say, and when we say sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitatta, may all beings be well, happy, healthy. This is truly, truly incredible uh, practice of uh, not only human rights, yeah, it's for the sustenance of the entire Earth universe, we could say. And Buddhist teachings encourage respect for diversity. Um, I think this is also very important, especially today we have so many religions, we have so many linguistic backgrounds, so many cultures. As we are dealing with the Buddhist culture, we can see different foods, um, different habits, and different communities. All of them have to live together. I remember Dalai Lama once said, it's important for us to respect all countries because it is in international business. In order to promote international business, we also have to be friendly with others, right? Everyone should be friendly. If we are angry with them, we can do even business with the others. So it's important to have that coexistence, peaceful coexistence with cross-border countries. Very important. And people can have different religious perspectives, different cultural, and all these differences. But when it comes to our own survival, we need to be respectful to all of them. So that unity in diversity concept, I think, can be beautifully applied here in this wonderful country. This is called United States of America. We have 50 different states, they are all different kind of separate countries, separate identities, and how they can be together, living harmoniously. I think also, for example, in our small little country, Sri Lanka, we have very limited diversities. But over here, you have, even when it comes to Buddhism, we have Theravada Buddhism, we have Mahayana Buddhism, Vajrayana Buddhism, then all different countries representing Buddhism. How wonderful it is, right? You can see Buddhism from um, um, China, Japan, Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Vietnam, Thailand, Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos, Sri Lanka, India, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Malaysia, and whatnot. All those countries have their own, Buddhism, and their own niche of Buddhism. And then apart from that, we have our own here American Buddhism, European Buddhism, and African Buddhism, and Australian Buddhism. So Buddhism has so many varieties now, and that diversity itself is truly remarkable. And apart from that, then when we see here, for example, in our monastery, on Sunday we have community lunch and practice together. So people bring different dishes from different communities. That is shared with everyone, and then we have a community lunch, and after that we practice 3 hours meditation, walking meditation, sitting meditation, Dhamma talks, and Q&A, which really brings so much good vibe to the community here. They are not necessarily Buddhist, and some of them are Christian, some of them are Hindu, some of them are Islam. All of them actually come here, just live harmoniously, which I found really a beautiful way to practice. And then mindfulness practice fosters self-awareness and challenges biases and prejudices. This also is another very powerful teaching that we need to pay attention to in Buddhism. Any question or comment so far? Please feel free to speak up whenever you feel like. Okay. So, contemporary application of Buddhist principles to human rights. This again is very interesting now. Gender equality. Buddhist organizations and leaders, they promote gender equality and eradication of poverty, environmental conservation, and peace building. We have these things as really important contemporary issues. So the Buddha also has done this during his own time. So this also contribute to a more compassionate and just world. If we have equality, equanimity, respect, mutual respect, coexistence, peaceful life, and sustainable living, I think these things can be very helpful. Also, when you have something, I remember in India there is a wonderful group called Sikhism. That's another religion. Have you heard of Sikhism? Yeah, in America also they have, like, with the turban and the long beard. These people have an amazing practice. If you ever come across their religious place, we call Gurudwara. Please go, anyone can go and have free food. Every Gurudwara, that is like their Sikh temple, and every Gurudwara offers free food to everyone, whosoever comes. And that's really amazing. Everything is done by the volunteers. Volunteers bring food to the temple, volunteers cook, volunteers clean, everything is done by the volunteers. I know, like, we have charity, we have practice of generosity in most of the religions institute, but this one is, I found really extraordinary the way they do it all over the world, wherever they have this. And because of that, the Sikh community, they have that amazing sense of generosity, and they really practice generosity. One thing that I found very, very interesting. I know Buddhist people are also practicing generosity. I know Christian people are also they're practicing generosity. And other faiths also, Hindu people, Islam people, they also practice generosity. This one was very touching. I've been to some of the places where they actually practice this beautiful, wonderful charity, and actually it helped alleviate poverty in a way, also social equality, food safety to many people who suffer from so many different difficulties. I remember when I was in India, in New Delhi, there was a Gurudwara, and a lot of people, like construction workers and all those laborers, there are thousands of them, and they come to the Gurudwara during the lunchtime, and they get a good free lunch. That's really amazing. I think I like that idea. If we can apply this thing to other places also, that would be really wonderful. Yeah. And then environmental conservation, we will talk about that more later on. We have a separate topic on this, so we can talk about that. And yeah, peace building is a very important thing. I really like the recent peace walk led by Bhante Panyakara. And I myself have involved in some of those peace walks. I walked actually from New York to Washington, D.C., 11 days peace walk with some Thai monks. And then same group, we had a peace walk 7 days in Florida. We were just peacefully walking. That was really amazing. Like silent walk, peacefully walk with a compassion in your heart and sending loving kindness to all sentient beings around, even to the nature, to the animals, which is truly amazing. Just keep walking and silently and sending loving kindness, and people feel that powerful energy of loving kindness. And yeah, we also had a 2,000-mile walk from Florida to Niagara Falls. Then we had a 10 days walk in Italy. Those were really, really nice peace walks. And actually, way before Bhante Panyakara started peace walk, this Bhante called one Thai monk. He's called Tang Sutam. He and his friends, they were walking. I don't know how many countries he walked. He walked like maybe many countries, maybe 50 or more countries. I recently met him and he asked me to join another peace walk, like 5,000-mile walk from Santa Monica to New York. So that's another interesting peace walk that he's going to undertake. I would say like he's a champion peace walker. All these peace building activities, peace building can be done in many different ways actually. Bhante Panyakara was exceptional. I found him really wonderfully making. I know there was a blessing in disguise in a way when the accident happened. And one monk was amputated, his leg was amputated, and there was a wonderful dog, Aloka, also attracted a lot of people. Somehow, millions of people world over rallied around him, his mission, peace walk. He became a real hero, actually. Very interesting. I found he started this when he started this peace walk, his Facebook group was, I think, zero. At the end of the 4 months peace walk, he had over 3 million followers just in 4 months. And Aloka himself had more than 1 million. So that shows how desperate these people need peace, and everyone wanted peace, really urgently need the peace thing. And unfortunately, many wars happen afterwards. Even now, the world is really shattered. The peace, PEACE, has been shattered into PIECEs. So that's unfortunate, right? So we all have some, I think, some accountability, personal level and social level, how to find peace within us, how to build peace among us. I think that should be very important and contribution that we all should do. Okay, so over here in conclusion, we can talk about Buddhism's foundation for human rights, how compassion, nonviolence, and interdependence can be contributory to peace building and respectable human life, and then how important it is to foster empathy, equality, and social justice, respect for women, respect for children, respect for elders, respect for parents, respect for other religions, respect for other cultures, other languages, other cultural performances, maybe dresses and food culture. They can all be really helpful for a peaceful world. And globally, embracing Buddhist principles like five precepts can create a world where the dignity and rights of all beings are respected and upheld. Okay. So that is about Buddhism and human rights for today. I know we have a lot of things. Apart from this, I also have uploaded some of the articles that you may read about Buddhism and human rights, and please read some of them, whichever article that you like, and maybe you can write a one-page reflection that can be very helpful. And maybe we can share that. Select one article about Buddhism and human rights and write one page um, reflection. And um, I will create a forum for you to upload that. This is not a required assignment, but I think as a part of our class, in order to also make sure that you are following this course, please make sure to submit that as well. So we had a group discussion first time today, and also now it is open for Q&A and open discussion. Okay.
Well, if nobody else has a question, I'll ask one that I don't know if it's perfectly relevant to the subject of human rights, but I think it's close, and I'm curious for perspectives. So one issue that is commonly raised with respect to any ideology or religion or philosophy that promotes nonviolence, tolerance, those kinds of principles is the idea that if you subscribe to that and then you are faced with an existential level of violence or intolerance, then the failure to push back may result in the extinction of your view, which is troubling. And so I'm curious I'm curious for your perspective on what the Buddhist approach to that significant kind of violence and existential sort of threat might be. I think the Dalai Lama has talked some about that with some of the violence that has been done historically in Tibet. But yeah, I'm curious for your thoughts on that.
Okay, let's open up to the class. Let's ask the students also to share their views. I think that will be helpful. If anyone wants to. So you talk about
Tom, what did you say your question was? Something about existential threat and the Buddhist view on that. Well, can you clarify what you said? I wasn't quite paying attention. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. So to summarize, it's really about sort of the paradox of tolerance. If you've heard of that before, that the idea that if you're tolerant of all views, then inevitably someone with a view that is intolerant of yours is going to trump that, and that can potentially result in the extinction of your own view. And similarly, so I'm curious, I guess, what for perspectives on what the Buddhist response to significant violence and that kind of thing might be if we have to subscribe to the principle of nonviolence and not pushing back. What do you do when you're faced with a level of violence then that threatens the entirety of your group?
Yeah, I think what makes me think of your question is, and also you mentioned the Dalai Lama. There's kind of the popular talk that the Dalai Lama has about mosquitoes, and how like if there's some mosquitoes biting you, it's not really a problem, but if you have like a million mosquitoes biting you, then your life is about, and if your life is in danger, then you need to do something about these mosquitoes. So I think maybe there's some relation to that. Now I don't really know the answer to that because that's such a difficult thing when you're talking about so many different people because you have collateral damage and then you have this like, there's like this thing where if you don't do anything, then we're all going to get killed possibly. And if I do something, then at least some innocent people are going to get killed. So that's why, like, as a Buddhist, I just don't ever see me being in that position. And I don't know, like, I don't know how King Ahsoka, I wonder if there's any situations that King Ahsoka had where his empire was being threatened and he had as a Buddhist after he already became a Buddhist. I wonder if he had to do anything in regards to self-defense and how he handled that. I'm not sure.
I would like to add something, if that's okay. Because I honestly don't know if there is, so I'm gonna hear from the professor on if this is actually something in Buddhism. But maybe it's because of our culture in this region, but we never saw any distinction or contradiction between peace and being strong. We've never like self-defense. We've never saw a contradiction of that. Being defending yourself is also a part of being peaceful. We've always believed that. We've always seen it that way. And just through my own readings, I do remember reading about some of the warrior monks in China, who to this day say the same thing, that that being peaceful and being strong are not contradictory. But I'm not really sure if what I'm saying is correct here or within this context. So I'd like to hear a little bit more. That's it for me.
So that makes me think of the story of the Buddha and the snake. And there's this snake that was like out in the forest and he was biting everyone and being like overly defensive. And so he became known as this dangerous snake that everyone hated. And then the Buddha came and the Buddha wasn't afraid of him and the Buddha didn't react to him. And so the snake like wanted to know more. And so the Buddha told him, he's developing all this bad karma for himself because he's being basically violent. And so then the Buddha left and then the snake became totally like I don't know the right word for it, but he was allowing people to like kick him and hurt him and stuff, and he would never bite back. He would never defend himself. And then the Buddha came strolling back through there, and he saw that the snake was like hurt and miserable, and he said, what's going on with you? And the snake said, well, you taught me the teaching of peace and nonviolence, and so I'm just not doing anything as these people are, attacking me. And then the Buddha said, like, you misunderstood what I told you. And he kind of said what you were talking about, Abdallah, is he said that, you do need to have good posture and show your strength, but don't um, go out of your way to hurt people. But at the same time, you can't let people like, destroy you. So I think there's some sort of answer in there with the story of the Buddha and the snake. It's, I don't think that the Buddha wants us to just be completely passive.
Yes, so Buddhism basically talks about the non-violence. It doesn't promote violence. Maybe Jennifer wants to say something before. Jennifer, do you want to say? You have raised your hand. You have to unmute. Okay. I think she has some signal issue. So violence should not be answered with hatred. As we know, the very famous Dhammapada stanza, Nahi verena verani sammantidha kudachanam averena cha sammanti esa dhammo sanantano. Hatred is never appeased by hatred. Hatred is appeased by non-hatred only. And this is the um, eternal law that can be actually applied by everyone. So this does not mean that violent behavior should be ignored. It means that if we fight hatred with hatred, we reproduce precisely that mental condition that created the violence. So Buddhism distinguishes between opposing violence and hating the violent person. So protecting victim also is compassion. We see, like as you mentioned, like there are a lot of people in the world, they are also suffering. And one way of doing it actually, like the Gandhi, he practiced something called Satyakriya, like non-violent way of protesting. And in Sri Lanka, we also had something called Sarvodaya movement. They also had this. So non-violent protest is a very interesting way also to protest something. And I personally feel like if the person who is involved in violence is so very powerful, and a personal an individual like us, what we can do, we are like very powerless and innocent. We can do much about that, but we can do something altogether probably, that is practicing metta and sending loving kindness to those people who take those decisions. I always think when we practice metta, we need to practice metta, send loving kindness to those political leaders, religious leaders, community leaders, and decision-making people, because they are one decision can topple the whole world, right? For example, this country is a very powerful country, and there are some other countries also very powerful. So their leaders can make coma. Whatever they decide can be decisive to many countries. And I remember when Russian-Ukraine war happened, thousands of miles away, Sri Lanka went bankrupt because they didn't have gas. So with that, the people were going crazy, and there were a lot of problems, and country went bankrupt eventually. So today, it's even in a very far remote corner, if there is a war fight, it affects the entire world. We are so much connected to each other. So I think it is the duty of every leader, all different leaders, to do something to avoid violence. Because today's the kind of weapons they have actually is not only enough for completely decimate this this earth, but even other planets can be destroyed by so much powerful weapons they have. And also it is easy money for many, like sometimes they just maintain wars because they can do a good deal with that. So this is why we need to also promote Dasaraja Dhamma, as we discussed last week, right? Last time, Dasaraja Dhamma, so very important precepts that the powerful people, ruling people, administrators, leaders, community, religious, political leaders should adopt. Especially the five precepts itself is so powerful. Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. I want to abstain from killing living beings. It's not only a personal refusal to kill, it expresses respect for all life itself. The human rights reading used in the course explicitly connects the Buddha's prohibition against killing with the modern right to life and with the principle of regarding another's desire for life as comparable to one's own. Thus, protecting engaged life can itself be a Buddhist responsibility. So, stop the violent act, but distinguish the person from the action. So the Buddhist approach here is this action must stop rather than this person must be hated. Yeah, that is the thing. A violent person is acting under powerful conditions of lobha greed, hatred, and delusion. And their ego is very high, right? So this does not actually excuse the crime. It helps us understand its causes. This is where the story of Angulimala becomes especially powerful. You know, how Angulimala was such a serial killer, monstrous person, and how the Buddha was able to tame him and transformed him. He took a complete U-turn to his violent past. He became a wonderful, compassionate saint later on, just like King Ashoka. So Buddhism refuses to reduce a human being permanently to his worst action. There can be accountability and restraint while still recognizing the possibility of transformation. I think what the Buddha mentioned here is we as humans we tend to make mistakes, right? So to err is human, and to forgive is divine, and if we recognize our own fault, our own mistake, just like Angulimala did, he recognized, he accepted, he was humble to accept his mistake, his fault, and from that point onward, he can go forward, he can progress. And if we can somehow convince some of those leaders also to bring them to reconciliation, maybe by sending metta, all of us, thousands of people, if we send metta to them, probably, I still believe the power of metta, power of loving kindness. It can melt even such hard-hearted people like Angulimala and like Nalagiri, the ferocious elephant who was coming, ramming to the Buddha. He was just able to stay calm and tame him by practicing metta. And even for Devadatta, who was a strong enemy in a way, but Buddha did not say a single word, to decimate him, to destroy him. He was always having compassion towards him. So restraint may be necessary. If a violent person cannot personally be persuaded, society may have to separate the aggressor from potential victims. Maybe you have what do you call democracy, right? Democratic right to change and restrain the person. Buddha also actually used this called what do you call Brahma Danda. Brahma Danda means that person is isolated, nobody talks to that person. So when you have a lot of people around and lot of power, then you kind of being carried away by the ego, and you might kind of violate your own power. But when you are alone, you have a chance, you have an opportunity to look back into yourself. Uh, that's how, once the Buddha, that also was done with compassion towards that person. That was Channa. Channa was the one who accompanied Prince Siddhartha to remember, to the royal park. He was the charioteer. And later when he became a monk, he was like boasting himself. He was super egoistic about his own, connection to the personal connection to the Buddha. And then he was trying to dominate over others. And then it was going like out of control. And then the Buddha said, leave him alone. It was like quarantine him. It was already a virus, so quarantine him for a while. And it's very interesting how before Buddha's passing away, he specifically instructed Venerable Ananda to remove that punishment. See, that also was done with compassion in heart. So I think it is really important, restrain the person to a certain way and use legal institutions. Of course, it could also help and protect vulnerable populations and prevent access to weapons or opportunities for further violence. That also is a possibility, and provide rehabilitation where possible. Some of them actually should be rehabilitated, right? So I hope this fits well with Damien Keown's discussion on Buddhist ethics and human rights. So Buddhism actually recognizes these reciprocal duties and legitimate structures that protect people from injustice. And human rights institutions can also provide recourse against repression and discriminations and violence. So Buddhist compassion does not, eliminate justice. The important question becomes, can justice protect society without becoming revenge? That's the important question. So what about using force? This is where the Buddhist ethics becomes difficult, actually. I remember I don't know if I told you before, like there was one king in Sri Lanka. He used the dead bodies in public. So he was punishing in front of the people. Actually, he was beating the dead bodies, not the real people, just to bring awareness to people. If you do something wrong, you will be punished like this. So out of fear, people were kind of able to restrain themselves. So early Buddhist morality is extremely serious about intentional taking life. There's no simple canonical doctrine equivalent to a Western just to war theory. That makes killing morally harmless because the cause is good. That actually is not aligned with Buddhism. Therefore, we should avoid telling students Buddhism permits violence whenever it is defensive. That's too simplistic. So a more accurate statement, I think, is Buddhism strongly prefers non-violent means and regards intentional killings as ethically grave, and even when circumstances are tragic. At the same time, Buddhist compassion does not require allowing innocent people to be slaughtered without intervention. Remember, there was a war between Sakyas and Koreans, and the Buddha went in between. He wanted to stop the war. And he had done it many times, actually. So there's an important moral difference between violence motivated by hatred, revenge, conquest, and cruelty, and restraining a dangerous person for the protection of life. Okay? Many things actually we can discuss, like intention matters, compassion must include all parties, and prevention is more Buddhist than retaliation. Yeah. Okay. All right. So with that, maybe we can conclude today's lesson. And thank you everyone for joining us today. And we will meet tomorrow. Do you know the time?
I thought it was 6:30. I thought it was the regular time tomorrow.
Yes. That's right. So we will discuss about the other topic. Let me see, what is the topic that we are going to discuss tomorrow? Okay, that is perspectives on languages, art, and historical gender roles. This is related to question number 2 and number 4. Okay. All right. So thank you everyone for joining us today, and hope you had a good time today. Also, it was helpful. And please save the chat if you know how to save the chat, and maybe it will also be shared in the group. And wish you all a wonderful, happy, peaceful night. And looking forward to seeing you again with another lesson tomorrow. Thank you and good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.